Okay, you stole the chapter and then you didn't read the best line. Hello everyone and welcome to Cosmere Connections. We're a collective of book-loving nerds rereading Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere series. From book 1 to book 16 million, we'll be uncovering every secret connection there is to find. On our show today we have Swiggity Swoo,
Hey guys, what's going on?
John,
I am a banana.
Kay,
New and improved Suni pups, now with real fur.
and I'm ReaderWarrior, and today we're going to be finishing Mistborn Era 2 Shadows of Self Part 2, chapters 18, 19, 20, 21. John, I believe you have chapter 18.
Indubitably. So,
Oh, quick.
yes, yeah.
Indeed.
So Marasi is sitting in on like some kind of a staff meeting with Innate and like his city staff guys, like the like secretaries of
Cabinet.
education, whatever. Yeah, sure, cabinet. And none of them are really like concerned so much about the threats to his life as they are about like the political fallout of what's going on. Which you can kind of see is sort of rattling Innate a little bit. Like he's acting weird. He's like, I don't know, he's being a little funny about it. Probably Marasi thinks because he has seen the Faceless Immortal and he knows what's up, and he's shook. He be shook. Finally he gets tired of it all and he basically tells them all, get out of here, get bent, like leave. But asks Marasi to stick around so that he can give her a note, making Aridel like the High Lord Constable or something like that, and giving him command over all the other Constable Generals until the situation kind of blows over. He says to let people congregate at the mansion so he can give a speech to them, dolt. But basically signs off on using like police brutality to disband the looters and rioters. Marasi tries to get a carriage, but the driver's like, it's gonna be a while, like, we're busy. And she's like, okay, and goes and decides to snoop around the house a bit, which turns out to be a good idea, because when she's poking around in the safe room, she finds a key in a book that opens up another safe in the floor, which is full of cash money and incriminating letters. Because every TV villain keeps the incriminating letters locked up in a safe in their house instead of burning them or otherwise destroying them.
To be fair, it was in his safe house's secret safe, which is stupidly in the same spot as his other secret safe. And typically you do need a ledger to keep track of stuff. I mean, that's how we took down, I say we, like I was there, but Al Capone, because they found his ledger of all of his money.
I mean, I guess, but this wasn't really a ledger, it was a stack of letters. Like, it was correspondence. Like, I mean...
Proof they said they were going to do something in exchange for favors.
You gotta put it somewhere.
I guess. House's worth of money. Oh, she takes the bundle of letters with her. Even though like that proof kind of like shakes her a little bit, and she takes it to show to Aridel. Then we have a POV switch to Wax, who is brooding as he bounds through the city, leaping over bridges, which he's taking special note of for some reason.
There's a lot of that in this book. Not to dissuade your
Yeah,
summary, but just like I've noticed, there's a lot of commentary in the Wax chapters where he's like ruminating on the nature of man and how they've built the city from the marrow of the bones of the steel of the stone.
well, yeah. I mean, he's Batmaning, right? Like he's brooding about his iron or his industrial era Gotham City. You know,
He's
which
also a
is
person who's been in the roughs and he's coming back to a heavily populated area. So he has like a reason to do it, but it is very much just yeah.
He's just
yeah.
Brand, hey,
being
look how
dramatic.
far.
He's totally like Batman brooding. But anyways, so he's wondering about why Harmony didn't save Lessie and why he's kind of forcing Wax to do his bidding right now, and he's kind of miffed about it. But eventually he kind of decides that he would probably have looked into this anyway, and so not doing this would just be him taking the coward's way out and being weak and kind of a little bitch about it. So he decides to just soldier on, and for now he's going to do the thing.
Do the thing.
And that's the chapter.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
One of the cabinet matters says, "Let burn what needs to burn." That sounds awfully familiar. Line I'm pretty sure the Lord Ruler said back in the Final Empire when the House War was happening.
Something along those lines.
Well, yeah, it was a similar situation,
A lot of these books are comparing to like the original trilogy, which like sure, of course they are. It's a sequel trilogy. But at the same time, you don't have to. With how
Well,
much time is spent on it, it makes you start to like think and compare and contrast the differences. And like this night, it's like kind of cool that it parallels like that night in the Final Empire. But I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on how it's different.
I mean, it's very intentional that that's happening, that it's paralleling that night in the Final Empire when the Lord Ruler was overthrown.
You mean intentional like Brandon wrote it to as a reference, or intentional like Bleeders like referencing it?
Both. Both.
double it down.
You got me there.
Like,
The Alloy of
we
Law was very much sorry.
no, you're good. I was like, because something we do know about Bleeder is that she was the Lord Ruler's Kandra. Like, so she is
She was there the
entirely.
night world burned.
Yeah, she probably was. And she played a role in, it sounds like a lot of the uprisings that the Lord Ruler ended up like squashing throughout his reign. Like she was probably very involved in those as well.
And I feel like Alloy of Law was here's a standalone that's got some reference. Here, Brandon is sort of to build on a series that I had already finished. How do I make references to that, but not have that be the main story? That's why he believes wax focused things. That's why very much the setting and everything is era 2, but you are built quite literally upon what was era 1. And that's why I think the set of the book. Because it finally allows itself to draw upon that.
That's pretty cool.
Sort of.
I was thinking too when you were talking about how Bleeder was working directly with the Lord Ruler, and lived through his fall, and the Cassandra and everything leading up to this point, like how different your perspective would be on Harmony, having lived through that, and having seen like, oh, this is just a guy. We thought the Lord Ruler was God back in the day too. So that's pretty interesting to think about.
I mean, instead of the survivor, this time we've been induced by a psychotic murderer, which is just hilarious because the survivor was a psychotic murderer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very much so. Very,
he
very
was
much so.
Charming.
It's a charming psychotic.
He was a psychotic murderer trying to overthrow God. Just saying.
We learned that the we learned that the Lee Cow's lineage has survived, which that is Yostis's lineage, who was Ellen's friend, the one who we also saw a bit of them in Hero of Ages when they surrendered the city to Sazed and Breeze for like a very quick treaty.
Yeah, Jastes was the one
Anyways.
who brought the Koloss to the city.
Yes.
In Well of Ascension.
Yes. Marasi comments how our car needs to refuel, and I looked it up because I can't help myself. Apparently, because obviously there were no gas stations when cars were first invented and being modernized and commercialized. Gas, petrol, gasoline was sold in small quantities, typically in like a canister, and it was treated as a chemical product, not as fuel. And so you would get it from like chemists, pharmacies, hardware stores, or even general shops.
Oh wow.
Interesting.
Petrol was commonly stored in glass bottles, and you would literally pour it into the car by hand. So imagine like getting like a soda bottle and it's got like weird liquid, just popping the thing, pouring it in, car comes to life.
Liquid dinosaur in a can. Now we have liquid dinosaur on demand.
Let's see. Innate is certainly not Ellen. Apparently Breeze wrote at least 3 books. And apparently the Hammonds lineage falls very far from the tree because they are in the Innate files.
Yeah. Is it in this chapter that we get that Breeze's name is like Chancellor to the Gods or
Counselor
something?
of the
Counselor
Gods?
to the Gods?
Yeah, I think
Was that this
no.
chapter?
No,
I think that's
we had
later
that.
in one of the next 2 chapters.
I think it's this one
That's
because it's
in
when she's
19, but we've had it in a previous chapter.
It's Breeze's essays are what where the key is hidden to the secret chamber,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that was in this
No,
chapter.
but we knew it when Wax, Marasi, and Wax, Wayne, Marasi met Meilon at that pub.
I didn't think that they mentioned that was his title. I know that he was mentioned in that, but I just didn't. I don't remember that was his title being mentioned. But I think that it is hilarious that he decided that was what he wanted his title to be.
Counselor Gods.
Yeah.
Okay. Calm down.
Okay, Breeze. We love the drama.
And then the POV switch. Wax comments how it's really weird that, a pub is loud this late, this early in the morning at 2 a.m. And I'm like, dude, the pub is better be loud at 2 a.m. Otherwise, that's suspicious.
Well, that's closing time, so at least around here.
Well,
Yeah. Also, I think they did mention that the most of the pubs usually close at like 2 a.m. I think that was mentioned, but they were staying open later tonight because of like how many people are like out and about.
That's all I got for 18.
Do you think the the Kandra pubs, you could just stumble into one, or are those a little bit more hidden?
I think it's probably like a gay bar. Like anybody can go in there. Like it's just a normal bar. It just happens to be one where a certain group of people happen to hang out. You know,
I mean,
Mean Burn.
Kandra are
I do and I don't, because I don't know. I've seen a couple like gay bars around like Worcester, and they're like named, and the imagery, it's like clear what it is. I can't.
I mean, it's that way more now, but like
Okay.
back when it wasn't as necessarily as obvious.
I would assume it
Especially
looked like any old pub, but maybe it's got like a symbol on like the sign that indicates Conjure or something. Maybe it's got a mushroom
Yeah.
or
I
bone.
just like the thought that it's like a speakeasy type deal, just because I think that would be fun.
I want the Conjure Club story. That sounds awesome. Anything else for 18?
No, not really.
Sweetie. I believe 19.
I don't know if this is going to make it into the episode because it's so vague and I don't have any specifics on it, but I like at Easter dinner, I was like talking to my in-laws or whatever you want to call them, and they were saying that there's like a secret speakeasy bar in Boston. You have to like say a password to get into in like the back of a laundromat or something. It's totally a
sounds
conjure
awesome.
pub.
See, I don't think Conjure need that level of secrecy because they're master disguises. They could put something front and center, you would never know. They don't need to hide it
Totally.
behind.
Totally.
They probably get off on it. All right. Speaking of, let's go to chapter 19. Chapter 19 summary brought to you by Swiggity Swoo in the year of our Lord 2026.
All right. Continuing with the Easter theme.
Hallelujah.
Innate ditches Wayne, actually all of his guards, including Melan, who ends up bonding with our favorite slider, Wayne. Turns out they get along. Masters of disguise from a different walk of life, but Wayne hears something. His true love, Ranette. She's come bearing a bullet with special powder. It's a gift for Wax. Shaking, Wayne takes the bullet. She seems not herself, barely getting mad when Wayne asks her for a drink. He asks her what's up. She says things are bad. People are chanting slogans and are rioting. Wayne decides to check and tells Ranette to stay safe before heading out. That's the end of the Wayne portion of this chapter. So if we wanted to talk about that bit, I skipped over a bit.
The only big thing is, okay, first of all, I like the term toofy. So fun to read, changing accent age. And apparently the Conjurers made a self-destruct.
That's right.
Well,
And there was a
they,
little bit of confusion for me because I kept confusing that with what they do in Hero of Ages. This seems to be something different.
Yeah, this is an actual like death versus like pulling their spikes out, which technically they are still alive and their spikes can be put back in.
Right.
which
like
is
the difference
exactly
between
what happened.
like ripping out a CPU and deleting the software.
So like what they did in Hero of Ages, I can't really remember. Did they just take their spikes out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is like a more concentrated, full destruction than just unplugging.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this is actual death.
Hey, write that down. Looking for a new band name. It's Actual Death.
Actual death. What about headcanon?
That goes so hard. We POV switch Marasi is with Aradel, showing him the writ with his promotion, even naming him a lord. Aradel's not thrilled. They decide to go to the governor's mansion. They're taking horses, Marasi as well, all despite her uniform is so unpractical. On the way, they slow, and Combs shows the Innate files, proving corruption. Where was I? Putting Aradel in a very difficult position for sure. That's the end of the Marasi POV.
We learn that Lineage Hastings is alive, which was Ellen's other friend in Hero of Ages, the one who drugged Vin. Which this is no surprise. We knew some level of these characters survive. It's just nice seeing that represented.
Yeah.
The fact that all Rianne sort of broke things is utterly hilarious. Because of course all Rianne's the highest, most powerful woman currently in the government at that time, 300 years ago.
Mhm.
She would too.
And then there was the line of, what would the Lord Mistborn say? And I was like, what would Spook say in this interest? Who knows?
I think it was in the next chapter, but there's like the bands of Wuzzing or something.
Oh no, we'll get to that.
Okay, all right.
We will get to that.
Of Wuzzing.
Bands of Marasi just casually breaking through glass ceilings and rewriting history.
We love it. We love to see it.
We really do. I also like the part where so she's trying to get Aradel alone so she can show him the Innate files. And he's about to get on a horse, and Reddy looks at her because he understands, like, he thought he was going to get in the carriage with you, but he's taking a horse. What are you going to do, girl? And she's just like, this, and gets on a horse.
It's just like, you think I don't know how to ride a horse? I spent an embarrassing long amount of time wanting to pretend to be Wax.
That's right.
Out in the rough, so of course I learned how to ride a horse.
So now we get a POV change. Wax is on the hunt again, this time searching in the Field of Rebirth. Though a tourist attraction vibe has taken root, National Treasure Steampunk Mistborn Edition is just below, though. Guards are left baffled.
That is pretty much the shot I had in my mind, now that you bring that to my attention.
I mean, that's basically what it is. It's a Disneyland of different historical places, and he walks through them all in the span of like a page. I figured we would
That's
talk
my
more about
chapter.
them. Right, no, you're right. But like, I figured we'd talk more about the civics maybe in the spoiler section. The guards are left baffled as Wax walks through history. Soon he finds the place, ATM's chamber, where a secret lever is, opening a way into the darkness. A new voice calls to our boy, unknown, gravelly. All it says to him is, I've been waiting for you, and the chapter ends.
A very familiar voice. Okay, going back to the beginning, he comments about flowers in the Field of Rebirth, and they're called Marewills. First on-screen confirmation, I believe, that the flowers that Kelsier had tried to bring back that were on the drawing that Harmony later brought are now named after Mare. Breaks my heart.
Well, they didn't know the name before, so...
Yeah.
It's just sweet.
They named it after her. Apparently, there's the tombs of Elend and Vin in there. That sounds awesome. They list off a bunch of the originators, one of which is called Lady Truth. And I, not recognizing that at all, went looking. There is nothing about this. Somebody asked in 2015, Chasm Friend asked, who are they? And Brandon basically said, I have an idea, but I don't want to canonize anything. Not because it's a big secret, because I might want to do things down the line. So it's basically a placeholder name for something he might do later.
Whoa. I was so curious about that too. I
And then
assumed it was just thinking, okay, who are like the characters from Era 1 that aren't really mentioned? I was thinking is that Beldra or something? Because we
that's
don't
what I
have
was
a
thinking
title
too.
for her, but
But if you go on the Coppermine to the Obligators page, it lists off all of them, and the only one that does not have a link is Lady Truth.
huh.
So Wax then does, and this is the trailer shot. Wax does salute to Vin and Ellen's tomb. Just imagine this shot, like you've got like some archway with a symbol of them. You see the coffins to like on his over his shoulder, and then he just sort of does like the gun raise and the spin thing, and then just as it clicks, that's when the camera just goes black, and that's when the trailer ends. Such a good shot. And here's what I think you were referencing, Swiggity. They reference Harmony's bands and then the bands of mourning as relics of the ancient world.
Yeah, which they reference them as two separate things.
And then they also reference Doxithium as volumes. So the quote is, another chamber contained volumes by other originators, some of which were considered holy canon by one sect or another, while some, like the Doxithium, were decidedly apocryphal. I don't know what the fudge the Doxithium is.
Well, nobody does.
It sounded like a volume written by Doxson, but didn't he pass kind of prematurely?
He died during
That's why it's
the
considered
Battle of
apocryphal.
It's just his
Yeah,
diary?
This is like the book according to I don't know who.
I swear to God, I heard the bands of Wuzzing today while I was listening to these chapters, and it's driving me insane because I googled it and nothing came up. And
I think you just misheard, Swiggity.
There's no way. Stay tuned for next week when I
That's all I got.
reread these chapters and find it.
I'll be waiting on the edge of my seat with bated breath.
Chapter 20.
You've had dibs on this for years.
So we have our lovely main character Wax, who is way too jumpy, and you should never sneak up on him, because immediately once he hears the voices, he shoots. Because Wax is a shoot first, ask questions later type of guy.
But Marsh feared.
But he finds out that it is in fact our favorite puppy, Tensoon, still using the wolfhound bones, which I do wonder if those are the same bones that he used, that Vin originally gave him.
I think it's pretty strongly.
Yeah. Which I think is like was nice. Like he's still like that is who he is most comfortable as. But so we see Tensoon. Wax gets to meet Tensoon, and they go on a little adventure through the Kandra's homeland and what has become the Kandra's homeland. So as they're walking through, essentially what has happened is that all of the caverns that the people hid in have during when Sazed remade the world, he kind of put together in a way. Like they're kind of all connected now. So as we're walking through, we get to see the basement of Creedic Shaw, which is pretty cool, with the Lord Ruler's hut that is still in there. And Wax makes a comment about how he thinks that he's like, oh, the Well of Ascension is like down there as well, which I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure
I think
Sazed
it's like 50 feet below.
I think Sazed moved it. Like, why would he keep it in the same place?
Well,
Why did he keep Rontek's hut?
Because there were people in that room.
He could have
I
crushed it.
don't think the Well of Ascension needs to still exist. Because
I think
there's
the
no
chamber-
more Atium, there's no more Lorasium.
True.
I think the chamber could still exist, though.
I mean, it could, yeah, but why?
History.
know.
Why does
It-
any of
say-
these rooms still exist?
Sazed is nostalgic, likes history, so I feel like he would keep it around.
That's valid.
Yeah.
He keeps the hits of Hessen, dude.
Which we'll get to later on in your chapter. So we go through walking through the Kandra homeland, and Tensoon leads Wax to this room with pits in the ground. And it takes Wax a minute to kind of put it together, like what this room is. It isn't until Tensoon is like, yeah, I don't like this room very much. And he's like, oh, this is this room. This is the prison that Tensoon was kept in. And inside one of the pits is a bunch of pieces of paper. And as he goes through these pieces of paper, he sees that they are all from the words of founding and all have blood on them. Some of them have words written in blood. Some of them just like have like fingerprints on, just like splashes of blood on them. But he takes out these papers and he starts looking at them. And he starts trying to like them and figure out what this is. But as Wax is going through this, he's like, this doesn't feel like something that Bleeder would do. Bleeder is too intentional with what she has been doing. This is too flashy for her, for what she intends. So he realizes this something's not right here. And so he starts thinking about the question of the note that he had read, which was about how so she had taken out the tongue. She ripped out the tongue of the politician. She ripped out and she gouged out. She spiked the eyes of the priest. So it's like, so he slowly is putting this together. It's like ears, the not the ears yet, but the tongue, those politicians that are speaking, the eyes are the priests, and he realizes that oh, she's not trying to take down the city. she's trying to take down God. She's trying to take down harmony. And he realizes, and this is when he realizes what Bleeder's next step is. Because Tensoon mentions that the other Kandra are about in the city trying to counteract what Bleeder is doing. And he realizes that everything in this chamber was set up as a distraction for him, to keep him away, so that she could enact the next part of her plan, which was to take down Harmony's ears, which are the Kandra, and expose them. So, as he realizes this chapter, it's when the chapter ends.
Well, not really, but
No,
for the most part, yeah.
For the most part, pretty much.
There's a Wayne POV.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Wayne POV. My bad. That's when the wax part of this chapter ends. Then we got Wayne's POV. Almost forgot about this. Where Wayne is in a crowd, in this dense crowd of people that are all shouting, and everyone's getting riled up in this frenzy. There's this one guy who's leading the charge and it's getting the crowd all riled up. And a priest, a survivorist priest, gets up and starts trying to calm everyone down. And then Wayne feels off here. Something is wrong. And then he sees what he thinks is a knife. That the person who was riling up the crowd has what looks like a knife and starts to plunge it towards the priest. So Wayne does what he does best. He freezes time. He panics. He doesn't know what else to do. And he sees that it is not, in fact, a knife. It is a needle. And it's a needle full of that substance that makes the Kandra drop their form. So he plunges it into the survivorist priest, and the priest starts melting because it is a Kandra in disguise. He's trying to calm everyone down, and this riles up the crowd even more so, to see that this was not, in fact, an actual survivorist priest, and gets everyone even more angry. And then they spot Wayne, and someone puts together who he is and realizes that he is with the constabulary.
What a world! What a world!
So everything's kind of going to shit.
Okay, I gotta go back to the beginning. Does Wax at the beginning, is he sees two little spiderweb thin steel lines. Are those Tensoon's blessings?
Potentially. Could be. I don't know.
I just think that's really impressive because I don't think Vin ever saw those. And yet we know genetically the Alamancers of today are weaker. But that just means Wax is so skilled with steel that he is able to pick up on.
Also, Wax is getting close to being
savant.
A savant.
You can see
a steel savant.
You can see a thin line to a hemalurgy spike, I think, coming up.
Oh.
Yeah, they also do reference that. Also, I mean, Wax, why do I keep saying Wayne? Wax does know the existence of blessings, Vin did not.
Yeah. So it might also partially be that. John, you thought of something?
I did. There was a thing in my chapter that I forgot about. And it's not necessarily pertaining to the plot, but he talks about how the pressure was or something that was bothering him was pressing into his mind like needles in his temples. And I'm like, leave it to Wax to like start thinking in terms of hemalurgy. Like the only guy in the world who knows about it, and now he's starting to think about it as like a normal thing, like the way of things.
Yeah. I don't know, I feel like that could be averagely, because they know of Steel Inquisitors, so they just don't know that that's the magic base.
They don't
But
know
yeah,
that's how. They don't know that that's the reason that the Inquisitors have their power.
Tensoon, how he doesn't really talk nowadays, and so I'm just, what does Tensoon do? Just curl up by a fire and lounge like a dog?
Tensoon is so grumpy. He's just a grumpy old man now. We love him, and he is probably just hangs out in his dog body and wanders around the city as a dog.
Yeah,
And that's why he doesn't
like you
talk
do.
to anyone.
He comments how like, oh, for every action Bleeder does, there are 12 of us doing opposite actions. It would have been so cool, or it would be so cool if in like the movie or visual format, this it jumps to a whole bunch of scenes that occurred throughout the book, showing like Kandra in the background. That if you rewatch the movie, you can see them, and it's not anything obvious, but it's showing like people helping, reaching out, doing things, and just knowing that those are Kandra. I think that would be cool.
Would be.
Credit shot. Well. Okay, you stole the chapter and then you didn't read the best line. Wax asks about Vin. He delivers the best monologue ever.
Go ahead.
She was
read it.
strong and vulnerable all at once. Tensoon whispered. She was my last master and my greatest. She had a way of pouring everything of herself into what she did. When she fought, she was the blade. When she loved, she was the kiss. In that regard, she was far more human than any I've ever known.
I mean, that's fair, but that's also not relevant to the plot of this chapter at all.
I love this chapter. I love all the references.
Also, like, I would also like to point out the fact that you were talking about how Tensoon doesn't talk. He never really liked talking to anyone.
No, but it sounded like
In
he had
general.
300 years where he wasn't.
Honestly, I
Which-
like to picture that Meilon will drag him out to go do things with her and she'll talk his ear off.
She just clips a little leash on. Come on, puppy.
Because she is like she's
Tensoon would not
basically
tolerate that for a second.
not at all. But she's basically
Air
like,
jail. Air jail.
Dale, shut up.
she is his daughter, basically. Like he helped raise
She goes
her.
to like these contra clubs and they're like, is that the Guardian? And they're like, no. This is my emotional support dog. So how about
Tensoon's
that
grumbly.
We learned that most of the seconds, Fudge and Compar, have also taken the way out. They don't really have a term for it.
They've ended their biological processes.
Sure.
They have chosen
And then
to die.
they chose to die. I like that. Where does Bleeder get? That's ironic. Where did Bleeder get all the blood? Because considering this is all just a distraction, for her to write out blood with all this, I'm assuming
Kandra
she's not.
have blood.
But they can't like manufacture it, can they?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what some of your organs do.
Yes, but it's not like she can rapidly. It's not like she can turn up the cells that make red blood cells.
Why not?
We
Feels
talked
like
about
quite
her creating herself
lot.
better ears. Why can't she create herself better bone marrow?
Because they were just starting to get to the point where they were understanding what cells were
So,
and white blood cells.
Kandra have
I
been
don't know.
around for that like she's been
It's just
alive for over
you know,
1,000 years.
The real question is,
we
do you
nitpick.
really want to know?
No, I don't. Well, I'm just imagining she had to like go and refill, and she had like somebody she used as a blood pen. What if, and this is jumping to the way, what if that was just a normal priest?
And his
Then it would have
face
killed
started
them.
melting.
His
It would
face-
have
It
killed
would have
them.
killed him, right?
hmm
Does the crowd just turn on the guy? You just killed our priest, my guy. Talking priest, and you just killed him.
What the heck, man?
I mean,
He could have.
but that was definitely Bleeder in disguise, like who is riling up the crowd.
I don't think. I think that's just one of the set or people working for Bleeder that she's hired.
I definitely thought it was Bleeder in disguise.
I mean, same.
I don't want to confirm or deny because I don't want to spoil. We can argue about it in the spoiler section. But I just figured that would. But even Bleeder, how would Bleeder know that's 100%? Hello, Kevin. Stab.
I don't know. It seemed obvious to me, forgetting this chapter and forgetting what happens, but reading the part before where Tensoon is like, we have people going out pretending to be priests and speaking the good word. Like when that priest was up there, I was like, oh, this must be one of the Kandra. So like, I could see, Bleeder just being like, oh, yep, that's one of them.
Yeah, I can get that. It's just, what if it was just a really good person?
I mean, would Bleeder care?
Probably not, but like,
That's
it wouldn't
yeah.
even help if she just killed off a priest that was preaching peace, would it?
Well, that's what she's trying to do is stop, like, she's trying to incite a riot. That's the opposite of being peaceful.
But against
So-
Innate. That
I
would
don't-
turn it against that person.
It doesn't need to be against Innate. She's just trying to destabilize the city. Like, a riot is that. So either way, it works in her favor.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I got for 20. Ready for 21?
Sure.
Okay. So Wax and Tensoon are in the chamber and they're running down one of the halls and they're running throughout the entire underground network because they start hearing this horrible howling. And they get to one of the rooms where Tensoon has an extra muscular set of bones just ready and waiting. And they turn around and they see these just animalistic human chimeras. These new forms of a hemalurgic construct. Something we never thought even was possible. And there's actually some really nice artwork that was done by I should have had this Sweeney. I thought it was McSweeney. There's just this horribly animalistic shaped human. Like unhinged jaws, their arms are bent back so they run on all fours. It is creepy, they are fast, they are terrifying. And so Tensoon says she has ruined, capital R, which I love. A lot of capital letters in these chapter sets. And Ten pours himself into these new bones, rises up as this just hulking heavy lift champion, and just starts tearing them up. He goes rip and tear. And that's
In,
just
like,
what they do.
in like 30 seconds.
Yeah. Elon said he was the best. She was not joking. So Wax pulls out a shotgun because his pistols ain't doing anything. And he just starts firing rounds into their skulls and into their chests and blowing them up. It even says Tensoon rips one in half.
I love that Tensoon is like your modern weapons are useless, and Wax is like, hold my beer, and then like pulls out like
Oh,
It's
man.
like that. He tosses a bunch of bullet casings on the ground, pushes up, taps weight, and comes down on one like the planet Mercury. Cracks it. This was really cool. Especially because we never really got to see Tensoon fight. This is the first time, I think, unless they do like what they did with the live action Aladdin. This is the first time we would see Tensoon's actual voice actor.
Oh man. I mean, I doubt
So
Liam Neeson is gonna play a squat, really strong guy, but just saying, that's my like headcanon like Tensoon voice.
I have a very
well, he was
particular set
already
of skills.
he was the
Sniffing,
lion in Narnia, so he
chasing
has
my
a
own tail. Sorry.
So we jump over to Wayne, who's pulling the absolute Bugs Bunny Looney Tunes trick of he went that away, and it works because it always does. Try this at home. He pops some gum in his mouth. He's switched hats. His lucky one is now behind a bush, and he starts heading back to the mansion. And then he hears a voice, and we don't know what the voice is or who it belongs to. But Wayne suddenly knows who Bleeder is. And so we jump back to Wax. And they finished up the fight, but there's more on the way. And so Tensoon leads him to this wall that's starting to crumble. Wax knocks it over, and you got like this weird climbing wall that's leading up towards the surface. And Tensoon sloshes down into like this weird meat toboggan and just starts carrying the bones up in a flesh sack, a flesh basket. It is
absolutely horrifying.
Horrifying. But he climbs really well somehow. And then Wax starts to climb, and he gets really scared because it's dark, it's cramped, and then he sees this glowing light. And he's like, what is that? And Tensoon says, Harmony wanted to make sure in darkness here again. And that's when he realizes he's climbing up the pits of Hassin. And it is Wallen's light that is bringing him to the surface. And that's pretty much the end of the chapter.
Beautiful.
This chapter's awesome.
This is
I don't care.
It's National Treasure still, but it's like Indiana Jones a little bit now too.
It is kind of Temple of Doomy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's peak era 2 stuff for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I do, Swiggity, I understand what you were saying, how like this is all just references to Era 1. But like there's a difference. I think a legacy story needs to continue from the original. And I think he's finally sort of building that. After we spent all of book 1 and pretty much most of this book just on the characters and the setting, and we've gotten used to these. Now it's time to incorporate that, and we're seeing all the good stuff. They kept all the set pieces pieces alive before tearing them down after the third movie. We see Krennic Shaw. We see maybe the pits. We see the pits. We see maybe the well in a background. We see maybe a statued version of Vin and Elend laying down with their hands holding each other. This chapter set beautiful.
Right. And I think, even going back to what I was saying, it's like I wouldn't consider a lot of the references to be like that fan servicey or even like indulgent. I feel like for whatever reason here, even though they're retreading a lot of ground, it it totally works for me. It doesn't feel cheesy or cheap in any way. I'm all about it.
Mm.
It feels similar to like in the Chronicles of Narnia, like um the when they
Starring Liam
come
Neeson as
back
the lion.
when they um like when they come back for the Prince Caspian
And they're like old
uh,
now,
but
and
they're well, it's
they're
like the whole world has changed. Like there's still
Oh, the castle.
remnants of that original like world that you were in, and you see those remnants show up in like small ways.
I also kind of feel like he was like, so he wrote Alavla, and then he was pretty stuck on book 2 till he wrote book 3, and then he came back to book 2, right?
Uh-huh.
I can kind of imagine like you get through Alavla and you've avoided kind of directly referencing too much, and then you get through Bands of Morning, and it's like, all right, that was a great story. You did a little bit of traveling, no spoilers, but just like then you go back to this book, and this is like, all right, now I'm gonna start bringing out some of the good stuff. Like, I know now that book 3 isn't gonna rely on this too heavily, so we can really get into it in book 2. Like, we can straight up go to the pits of Half Sin.
Or anything else for this chapter set? We have finished part 2.
I don't have
Nope.
anything
Okay.
else.
Awesome. Well, next time we're going to be doing all of part 3. That's going to be chapters 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26. So I wanted to double up. For now, it is time to head into the spoiler realm. If you have not finished this book, so if you have not finished this book, the entire series, or potentially the entire Cosmere, then we recommend, because it is likely we will talk about everything and anything. If you are caught up, feel free to stick around, because it's likely we will bring up details one may have missed or plot threads still yet to come. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, star, heart, whatever it is on this podcast, and comment your own thoughts and predictions. We would love to hear from you. Check out the link in the description for our socials. But at this where I miss part, my name is ReaderWarrior, and I've been joined by Swiggity Swoo.
Seriously, if you've heard of or have seen the Bands of Wuzzing, please drop a comment. Please.
If
I'm
found, please
desperate.
return to Swiggity. John.
My spoon's too big.
And Kay.
Have a good one.
And don't forget, there's always another connection. And we're back. Spoiler. Chapter 18. I think this is the only reference we have to Marasi's mother.
No, there have been references to her mother previously.
besides the fact that Marasi's mother slept with a married man.
Marasi's mother was mentioned earlier in the text in this book.
I don't know.
I don't remember reading.
It's
That is
very
ironic.
Maybe.
vague references. Like they're very like much in passing. But yeah, she's been mentioned previously. Why?
Marasi commenting, "Oh, I don't like politics. I had wanted to be into politics, but now I don't." When she becomes possibly becomes the politician.
When she herself ends up becoming governor later on.
We hope. Air 3, not out yet. Maybe. We hope.
Heavily implied that she ends up becoming governor.
Yeah, but we don't
She-
know what Brandon might do.
She does become an ambassador.
Yeah, but maybe as she's returning to Ellendale, she gets shot down, and then that starts off like the whole war.
It's still so insane to me, like, that book 4 didn't explain the Southern Scadrians at all.
Okay, we're ignoring. Focus.
You're right. You're right.
That's okay. I wonder how long Bleeder has been innate, and if Bleeder picked this cabinet to be sort of, hey, you need to focus on the politics side. You need to, put them down. Like
I don't think that she has been innate for as long as Innate has been governor.
an election cycle.
Because so Wax has only been in the city for a year and a half. It's been a year and a half since he died.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Because it's been about a year since Alloy of Law, and it was 6 months between when Leslie died and Alloy of Law started.
Yes, I remember the random titles.
So it's only been about a
Oh, it's been 2 years because remember you had the prologue 5 months later, and then you had 6 months later for chapter 2.
Okay. So it's been about 2 years. And I don't think that she would have been prepared to start like implementing this plan immediately. And I think Innate has been governor for longer than 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So he was already corrupt beforehand.
Yeah. I just didn't know if he got reelected recently or something.
I don't think it specifies.
I wonder if Bleeder. I don't want this to be as sexist as it might be. I wonder if Bleeder was a little bit jealous of Marasi, because there's a point where he's like, "You're new to the hate that word.
Constabulary.
Yeah, constabulary." And then Marasi says, "I wasn't aware I attracted your attention." And then she says, "You haven't, he has." And then part of me wonders, how much research has Bleeder done into all the people currently connected to Wax's life now?
I got that
Oh,
vibe
a
too.
ton of research.
But I wonder if
Jeez.
Bleeder has caught some of the weird vibes they've had. It's like,
I don't know if it's like that much necessarily, but she definitely knows about the about Marasi and about Steris. I feel like she would be more like upset about Steris's relationship with Wax.
Yeah, but I think Bleeder is kind of in the Wax mindset. I don't want to say that. Knows like, oh, that's just a marriage of obligation, and can sense like, oh, you're his type.
Yeah, I was getting that vibe of just like, I get what you're saying too. Like, it should be more geared towards Steris, but like, I'm thinking of kind of the mindset of a reader maybe at this point is still kind of not sure how that's going to go down. Like, obviously we know like Wax and Steris end up just loving each other and it's awesome. But like, maybe there was supposed to be a little bit of a lingering doubt.
Mm-hmm. Also, like the books themselves have been trying to push no, Wax really kind of likes Marasi, not Steris.
Um, not in this book, no.
At the beginning.
I don't think it's been put to bed
no.
yet. Like it hasn't been
I
stressed, but
like no. In this book, Wax has very much been very awkward around Marasi.
until God tells
Like,
him to stop.
yeah,
Yeah.
he feels because he does know that Marasi had this like big crush on him and like idolize him, and that makes him feel weird. And he doesn't like it, so he's like trying to avoid her.
Mm-hmm. And then in the Wax POV, his earring is gone because that's now in the bullet.
Yes, that was what he
Yeah.
sent to Ranette.
Yep. And then there was the little mindset he has about duty and wanting to just be able to be right without having to worry about being wrong. Kind of reminds me of that conversation he has with Harmony in Bands when he's dying, and Harmony's like, which do you want? Peace or and then Wax says it's duty. And
Duty.
I knew you were going to cackle at that.
It's what I do.
But for a brief moment, I was like, no, he would want righteousness. That's the word, that's the intent he wants. He wants to always be in the right, to know what he's doing is the way it has to be, the way it is, should be. Yeah,
I
just
can
where I
see
was.
that, but I also do see kind of like I see a couple of themes in this book of like just a couple mentions like between like Marasi and Aradel of like, oh, just because we know the governor's corrupt, we can't just walk up to him and shoot him. Like, there's something to be said for due process, I think, in Wax's worldview too.
We do see two very different sides. We see Marasi's side is very much, you have to follow the law, you have due process, and even though they're a horrible person that's done horrible things and now has a list of bad things in a secret spot that they were trying to hide, does not necessarily mean you can just walk up and shoot them in the head, even though sometimes you want to. And then you have the Wax side, which is like, yeah, they're a bad person, let me just do that. But then that would just lead to a world of chaos. And we see
Wax.
that.
I would say Wax's attitude is very much later.
And then, but Wax is also being crushed by the weight of it. It's like, I don't want to have to worry about that. I've got God literally giving me missions. I've got to make sure all this is right. The whole process, the whole mystery of it all is pulling at me.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because you have all these different like levels of morality, like just your individual level as a human being wanting to do good in the world, and then your role as in society as like a lawman or a whatever your role is. And then there's like the whole religion aspect of it, you know. All these characters are pretty devout religiously. And then you have somebody like Wayne who you just can't really figure out and just does what they do. And it's like, yeah.
Wayne is somehow the worst of both worlds. Anything else for chapter 18? Really was dumb to put a second secret safe in pretty much the same hiding spot as your first secret safe.
You know,
You know, he never said that he was very smart.
I mean, yeah, but if I have a secret
I mean,
safe hidden
he
behind a painting,
also forgot where the key was.
yeah,
Is that what happened? Because I really thought that was just like foreshadowing that
yeah,
it was Bleeder.
no, because apparently in order to make that much damage at the bottom of the book, you had to take him in and out a bunch of times. Or at
Yeah.
least that's what I assumed from
Huh?
what they said.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, Bleeder would just
Yeah.
pull all three out, and that's pretty much what Marasi did. But like, Innate must have like, shoot, which version of the book did I do it in? They get moved around. They got the same bindings. Oh no. Chapter 19. So initially I thought Leslie did not like Wayne, but then because she kicks him out fairly quickly, but I think it's just she knows if anybody's going to figure me out, it's that little creep. Because gosh darn it, he does.
Also, she wants to be able to get away to do things.
I mean,
She's not in that room. I'm like 90% certain that she is not in that room during like
when she
when
closes the door.
Wayne.
Oh yeah,
Once she closes that door, she's gone.
she goes to be the overalls guy, right?
I think so. Yeah.
and that makes sense.
Yeah.
But he gets back and hears
Yeah, but he has
Bleeder
to run
talk.
around. He has to run around first to get the mob off of his back. He doesn't go straight back to the Bleeder has time, and Bleeder is almost as fast as Tensoon is at changing bodies.
Yeah, I guess. Just I don't know. That feels like a stretch. See, Bleeder and Mob. I wonder if that'll pull up anything. Wobs. Nope. Nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess that also makes sense. But it's also like she has to know on some level. I cannot mess up around him because he has this just knack for random things, and he will pick
Oh
me
yeah.
out.
Also that, like, she also knows that. That's why she's been avoiding Wayne this entire book series so far. Because she also ditched him at the gala. Tried to
Yeah.
keep him out of the gala as well. Like,
Yeah.
so like
Chapter 19 starts with Wayne basically saying like, "Dude, this guy's ditched me 3 times. What the heck?"
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I really gotta wonder how they would do this, trying the different accents thing, making it recognizable enough where you can hear a difference, but not much so that you don't go from this to this in a visual format.
The
or an audio.
audiobook does a good job with it, I feel like.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
okay.
I love listening to the audiobook and like, you know, they're teeing up an accent saying like, oh, it's a guy born on the Western Shore, but his parents were deaf. And like you know that Michael Kramer is gonna just nail that somehow. And like he always does. And like the different
Yeah.
subtleties between the way she's like getting it slightly wrong and then Wayne's like getting it perfect. It's like it's really impressive voice acting.
Mhm.
Wayne and Melan comment about immortality, and Wayne gets his wish. He gets to see the end of the path, and Melan does seem to regret being immortal in the Lost Metal. The Kandra have a self-destruct button. Ranette is built like a rough's fence. Is the funniest line to me. How the fudge is somebody built like a fence?
That's Wayne for you.
Ranette has a different girlfriend currently than the one she marries in the Lost Metal. She's currently dating Marissa, I believe it said, when in the Lost Metal it's Jaxie. Because I have to check every single name that shows up. I gotta find all the little details. I'm totally not overanalyzing. So they comment how like, oh no, they don't have a fighting force, and why would they? I think it would be really cool is if we get a look at what it's like for, especially since Elendel is now going to be in this Cold War with the Southern Skadrians, what it's like for them to finally develop that after 300 plus years to develop an actual fighting force.
Yeah. Because why would they need an army? They're the only country. They're the only people. Why would they need an army?
Mm-hmm.
Well, once they learn about other planets, they might want to start thinking about it.
It's probably why
You
they're
know,
going to get steamrolled by the Scadrians.
You mean by the
that's true.
Rosellans?
No,
Oh, the
I
Southern
mean
Skadrians.
by the
Oh, the
Southern
Southern
Scadrians.
Oh, yeah. I'm there now.
Just because I don't like the Southern Skadrians does not mean I side with those glow sticks. Metalborn all the way.
Glow sticks.
You break them and they
Glow.
shine.
It's terrible.
Marasi shows some leg. She read Alamancer Jack, which I found funny. And she has definitely completely grown out of her cowgirl phase.
Yeah.
Totally. Definitely not still horse girl.
What's that horse movie?
Side note, but I think it's hilarious how embarrassed Reddy gets when she gets on the horse and then shows her. And,
oh no, her lower
Marasi-
thigh.
yeah. And Reddy gets like so embarrassed for her, and she's like, "Yeah, it's fine. It's whatever." Like,
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, her safe hand has been exposed for like the past 2 books.
My gosh, that'll be so funny.
Skadrians.
When Skadrians show up on Roshar and try to make deal, and the woman just like reaches out a hand to shake, and they're like, the whore. Oh, so this is how you Skadrians like to party. You bring your...
You rock out with your safe hand out.
Uh-huh. Oh, you're a nudist colony, I see.
They just think they're shit.
I mean, probably. Let's see. Marewill's, Harmony's bands, and the bands of mourning.
Yes, this is our first reference to the band.
And not the bands of wasing. I want more on Harmony's bands. Because the fact that What's in the placard for the Bands of Mourning? Nothing. But they have they have Sazad's metal mines, and that has no huge mythos to it.
That are empty.
So are the Bands of Mourning.
They're not. Not
Yeah,
until the Lost Metal.
They broke them. Well, that's not technically the Bands of Mourning. Because the original band, the Lord Ruler's metal mines were just atium and sold or melted or burned for money.
Hmm.
There's no getting those.
So, what are the Bands of Mourning?
The
The
Bands
Lord
of
Ruler's
Mourning.
metal mines lost.
Yeah,
No getting those back.
but there's a mythos that comes up surrounding them that they can grant any power to someone who is using them, which is what they end up finding in the Bands of Mourning. And so they
Which are
refer
called.
to that, which were made by Kelsier, but they refer to those as the Bands of Mourning, even though they're technically not the actual Bands of Mourning, because those are
Gotcha.
supposedly the Lord Ruler's bracers.
It's like the Holy Grail, but if somebody showed up with a Holy Grail that was a knife, that granted you the powers they said the Holy Grail did, but it wasn't.
Right, right.
But everybody just called it the Holy Grail. It would be really funny if somebody turned the Holy Grail into a spear and took the Spear of Destiny and made it into a cup.
I mean, okay.
And then you just swap the placards. That would be fun. Not okay. That's a whole. I got a thing on that. Anything else for chapter 19?
Are the plaques on all of the historical objects and rooms and statues, are they all carved into steel?
They
Yep.
are. They mentioned that. I like that.
That's
that
awesome.
I did like that detail.
Mm-hmm.
So cool.
Chapter 20. We see Critic Shaw. I think the well still exists. Maybe not connected to the rest of all of this tunnel system, but I think the structure is about.
I mean, there is still Harmony has his perpendicularity somewhere.
Way down south, supposedly.
Yeah, we don't know exactly where it is, but he does have his own perpendicularity somewhere. And we know that the pool, like the actual structure, even if the liquid that was in it is now gone, because we see that with the Hornator peaks when cultivation leaves, that the pool where her perpendicularity was, like the actual like basin that the water was in, is still there, but the liquid is gone.
Yeah. That's, I believe. And somebody as late as 2018. The Skyward Release AMA. Has Harmony a perpendicularity at like the pits of the well and the well in the pits of, and Brennan just says Raphael.
Yeah, he has to have all shards have, if they are, once they have settled down at a planet, they have perpendicularity that is associated with them. So, for that planet. So, there is a
I think the Southern
perpendicularity
Stage.
somewhere.
Y'all should do a
For
panel on perpendicularities.
That could be. I want to see the Kandra Club. So there's a moment where Tensoon is like, wait a second, you spoke with Bleeder? What did she say? I have to wonder if maybe Harmony or Tensoon were like, wait a second, did she spill the beans on our maniacal plan?
no, it's not that. It's that you that Bleeder is like Tensoon was. Tensoon met Vin,
Yeah.
where she doesn't know who she is if she is playing a role. So the fact that she was not playing a role when she spoke to Wax, that is like, oh my god.
But, and yes, that's the reasoning Tensoon gives. But the whole thing is that Lessie fell into the role. Bleeder fell into being Lessie, that she became that's who she believes she is, right? That's the whole thing. I am Lessie. I'm in love with Wax. And you won't let that happen. And so Tensoon, this seems to imply like maybe Tensoon doesn't know, but then Tensoon is the one to explain it to Wax at the end. So, but I have to wonder if that was a brief little moment of panic where like, wait a second, did she say that we kind of had you kill your wife and she was your wife?
I also, at this point, I don't think Tensoon knows the whole story at this.
I'm not certain, because Tensoon seemed truth letters on a page can be truthful.
It's definitely the first thing I thought of when I got to that part.
But
Is that he was concerned she spilled the beans. But he gives that explanation. Is it more so that he's just freaked out that, like, a personality has
he did know.
developed?
You didn't tell me. Wax spat his grip tight hatred. He didn't think he had ever felt hatred so intense as he did in that moment. I was forbidden, Tensoon said. Meilon didn't know. I was only informed a few days ago. Harmony foresaw a disaster if you were told whom you hunted. So he didn't know 2 years ago, but he knew at this point. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. Did Bleeder first leave because Harmony tried to take control of her at some point? Did that send her off? A moment of silence. Yes, Tensoon replied. Harmony says he didn't try to control her directly, but he did push her very hard to do something she didn't want to do. Who's... Because Bleeder seems to imply like Harmony made me do it. And I know we're trusting a mad person who's very much corrupted by love at that point. But also, like, how else could Harmony make her do that without fingers in the skull moving into place?
Honestly, that's a good, genuine question. It seems like they're not necessarily free just because of that one line. I think it was like Tress of saying, "Oh, the father freed us." So it seems like they don't really have personal agency. Like, but what does that mean?
Brandon apparently said at like on a wob that there is an event that will happen that won't be on screen, but happens during the gaps. Don't know if it's between era 2 and 3 or 3 and 4. where the Kandra are released because of an event.
That says it essentially. So right now, they have basically a contract with Sazed. Similar to like the first contract. That says that they are working for him. For Harmony. But at some point, Harmony releases them from that contract. Like somehow they get released from the contract and they are allowed to go and do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there's any magic involved in that contract situation. Or if it's...
Could be. There very well could be.
I thought there would be. I'm thinking there's an accident that happens, and Harmony has to say, "Nah, I have to let you guys go to become your own people." Can't find the wob.
Can't find a regular bar in this damn city. It's all Kandra bars now. You guys are
Kandra.
free.
Kandra everywhere.
Just get lost, actually.
It's really funny if there's like a bar that themes itself after Kandra in the homeland and just it's considered horribly racist to Kandra. So there's a line like, "The survivor stands with us," and I'm like, what the fudge is Kelsier up to? Considering his whole thing is protecting Scadrial, and yet he's allowing this to happen?
He's protecting Scadrial from outside forces.
What outside forces? Ambition? Autonomy is here, kind of. And the Roshar stuff hasn't even really happened yet. Wait, no, the Roshar stuff happened yet. Wait.
The Roshar stuff has already happened.
Yes. You're right. Well, like, Elendel falling wouldn't be near the top of Kelsier's alert. The trouble alert.
Nope.
He's got a mixed sense of priorities.
Yeah.
Also,
nobody knows
I
what
would
he's
also
doing.
like to point out it's been like 12 hours.
Yeah, and they got magic. And spots everywhere.
Kelsier also might not be in the Elendel Basin right now.
Yeah, but like, we know the Ghost Bloods collectively are, and they have seance for inter FTL communication.
Yeah.
Basically.
But again, it's only been a few hours. Like, things started happening. It would
Hey
not
boss, the
surprise
city
me
is on fire.
if they're like they're kind of like scrambling to like do anything.
Picking up the cell phone. Boss, the city is on fire. What do you want us to do? Send in the mech guy?
Also, it might be that Harmony is like, I've got it handled. Like, you don't need to do anything.
Yeah, I like that.
No, corrupt politicians, corrupt politics are biting him in the ass. Yeah, as
Yeah.
Kelsier, I that offends me.
Mm.
I think
See, I
he's
kinda
just
like
letting
that
it play out. Good for you guys. Revolt. That's what I would have done.
I, a psychotic murderer, would have never let it get this far. Further, yes. Okay, and you guys, I mean, it makes sense if that is Bleeder, the overalls guy. Just nothing Excuse me. Nothing seemed to indicate it. And also,
Besides the fact that they made a direct attack against the Kandra, and all of the other direct attacks that have been made, Bleeder has done herself.
they've been working with the set, or she's been working.
But Bleeder was the one who killed what's his face at the beginning of the book. Right?
Brother.
Yep.
Yeah, the brother. Bleeder was also the one who killed the priest and revealed that stuff.
Wincing.
So at least in my mind, it would make sense that Bleeder is also who is outing the Kandra.
Okay. And I will take it as canon because that makes more sense than anything. Anything else for chapter 20? Okay. 21. I never think I realized it, but they seem to imply that the Kolos were freed with emotion, which we know, rioting, soothing, in Durlumin is how Vin did it.
Yeah.
Right? But it never really connected to me like, oh, the Kolos were feeling those emotions that were being rioted or soothed.
Mhm.
So I don't think I ever realized that. So one Kolos just randomly starts feeling super depressed and then just
but
has their mind invaded.
I think it's more so that like when the Kolos got how Vin was able to take control from the Inquisitors who were controlling them is first she had to get the Kolos super angry and in a mental state where they were so enraged at what was going on that she could then break that bond. I think
that's
it's more so
how I-
referring to that. And
That's
like
how I understood it.
and like when her Elend would lose control of the Kolos, it was when the Kolos got into that enraged mental state.
Blood frenzy.
Yeah, that blood frenzy.
And that's how I interpreted it, that they were and it was easy. But here the line is, Vin liberated Kolos by making them feel powerful emotions. So that seemed to imply like it was Vin soothing / rioting. And I just never realized, the Kolos were being rioted to feel an emotion or soothed to feel an emotion.
I mean, yeah, that's how rioting and soothing works.
But
It
we
does
never
make
saw
sense.
a Kolos start to be super happy randomly or start to cry. All we saw is they invaded the mind.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like the way that it happens, and never seeing like a Colossus POV it's totally like mind control versus like, regular soothing and rioting is just affecting somebody's emotions. It seems like a step up and almost a different thing when it's applied to the Colas. So it was really interesting to hear that and to conceptualize like, oh, so that's what was happening. Like their spirit web was like cracking because they were in that rage. I don't know if their spirit web
That's
was
all I'm
cracking.
saying. So the Chimeras, we know nothing. They have one spike with Trillium.
Mhm.
Does that mean they're only partially transformed? Does that mean there are 2 other more Trillium hemalurgic creatures possible? Who knows? Because Brandon won't say squat.
I wonder if the size of a spike dictates its ability to take somebody over.
I don't think so.
Well, no. The bigger the spike, the more charge it can hold. But you can only take like one person's thing. So like if you wouldn't be able to make an Inquisitor out of a sewing needle for a spike, right? It's just not big enough. That's why they used the big rail. That's part of why they used the big rail spike type spikes. Like that's been talked about before. I don't remember exactly where, but it has.
Marsh, when he was stabbing the random politician, says hemalurgic spike doesn't need to be railroad spike. It just needs to be able to hold a charge.
Right. But like I don't know. I might be I don't know.
The only thing I got is we don't. What is the attribute being stored in the Trellian spike? We don't know. There's nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, we don't
Humanity.
know what Trellium does elementically, ferochemically, or electrically.
And we're never gonna get the full elemental table. Tensoon just shape-shifting in 30 seconds was awesome.
I know, I was picturing that, like, sorry, excuse me. I was picturing, like, he shoots his, like, flesh off of the dog bones, kind of, like, tips the basket and, like, starts, like, sending out little flesh tentacles and, like, picking each individual bone, and, like, by the time he drops back down to the floor, he's, like, almost completely changed.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Gruesome.
However, there seem to be two different types of hemalurgic chimeras. There are these ones that are supposedly made by Bleeder, and then the set later makes them as well, except the version the set used have long necks, elongated legs, heads that are canine, eyes are recognizably human, incapable of vocalization, make a hooting sound. And the strain used by the set has 2 spikes implanted in the shoulders. Okay, that's also probably the biggest detail. I don't remember, when did chimeras show up again?
The Lost Metal?
It must be.
Yeah.
My recollection of the events of that book is sketchy.
They do show up. I think it's like when they're finding all the people that think the apocalypse has happened in that, like, complex underground.
Oh, is it when Marasi and Shy are running through the tunnel?
Something like that.
Potentially?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be the most likely time for it. I don't remember exactly.
Wayne figures out that Bleeder is in fact innate because his words were wrong.
His accent was slightly off.
That was good too,
And
because earlier in the chapter he was talking about, like, he didn't really have anything to do, but he would just sit there and listen, because even though Wax has a tendency to do the impossible, there's a chance he might mess up, and so Wayne will just listen, and eventually he'll catch something. It's like,
yeah. But like 2 little complaints. One's more of a nitpick. One is you can't really do this in a movie format all too well because unless you have a whole bunch of different audio voices layered and then just have without revealing the initial one is, you can't have one and then I'm realizing it in this scene. So you just gotta have like Wayne walking through and hearing a bunch of voices, and then like he looks up.
I think the way I would do it is I would have like earlier, like when Milan and Wayne are talking about accents and stuff, I would have them like mention the specific mess up that he does so that the audience recognizes it too.
But the thing is, you don't want to reveal that Bleeder is innate yet. That's next chapter.
Well, we'd have to put them together then. Because, yeah,
Right.
otherwise, how would you do it? Like,
Uh-huh.
huh.
And then the slight nick is he's able to discern that Bleeder is innate based on one little accent, but could not for the life of him figure out, hey, that guy who's not disguising his voice at all is Miles 100 Live.
I get what you're saying, but also I think it has to do with what is Wayne paying attention to. In this in particular, Wayne has intentionally been listening to the accents to people's voices to figure out accent is off, because that is what he realized is going to be the easiest way for him to try to figure out who the Kandra is by listening to people's voices.
I think we've talked about this before because I have I have a good memory for voices. Like, for example, one day as an adult and having not seen this movie for like over 10 years at least, I was just sitting around and I was thinking about the Iron Giant. And I was like, is that guy Harry Connick Jr.? Like, and it is. And it was. And it was like, you know, so I have like a thing for voices. But at the same time, I couldn't tell you like anything about accents or vernacular that somebody's supposed to use like based on where they're from. Like I think we talked about this before, but it seems like a different skill to know accents and vocabulary.
It is a case of Brandon giving Wayne an upgrade in this really specific thing that just works really well in the future, and it does really work for his character, but does not work in Alloy of Law. Either that or Wayne was just a jerk the entire book and was like, I have no idea who that is, mate. Never heard that guy before. You think it's Miles? Sure thing, pal. I got nothing else for this chapter set.
Neither do I.
I think we can probably wrap it up.
Yep.
Well, that's going to just about cover it for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us in our railings and predictions. This has been Cosmere Connections, and we hope to see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.